Hey everyone, NWA Prepper here. So today I am taking a bunch of small portions of flour and sugar and some other things, some common baking goods. Of course, I'm not going to reseal the yeast, but baking soda, baking powder, sugar, all-purpose flour, self-rising flour. I think that's all I've got. So what I'm doing is I'm going to vacuum seal them and then put them in a tote. And I went for these smaller amounts because these are for midterm use. These aren't necessarily for long-term storage, such as you don't store flour, or I don't store flour for long-term storage. I store wheat berries and I have a grinder. But to get us through what I believe is coming quicker than not, I went and I spent a little bit of money. Not a whole lot. I don't remember how much I spent, but it wasn't much, to buy these smaller packages of flour and sugar. I did the same thing with sugar. And I'm going to store them, and I just found the receipt. I can tell you exactly what I spent. So this whole project, to include the totes, everything I did on here was $55. And I'll show you, which is a lot. I mean, I sacrificed a little bit, but we use this stuff every day. We use it, in our baking and stuff all the time. So it's not going to go to waste, but I wanted to prepare in case there was, I don't know, say a third of the world's wheat wasn't accessible. Just hypothetically, so that we would still be able to make our biscuits and our bread and do our baking as we normally would. So let me get back to it, and I'll show you when I get along a little bit. I'm just using my food sealer, my regular food saver, and regular bags. So yeah, nothing fancy, but I'll show you when I get a little further along. So it's going okay. I've had a couple little lessons learned, which, some of that is, I will share with you here in just a moment. One thing was, I started, the first one I did with the bag this way. You can see the seal up here, and then that whole bag is kind of a waste. Well, then I turned it this way, and I'm using less of my bag or my sealing stuff for sure. So that was one lesson. Yeah, and I always do enough so that I think I can seal it again if I need to, or if I just want to use some of it. It kind of depends on what all's going on. And again, this isn't, though I'm certain this would last. I mean, they're already good for a couple of years. I think the best buy date on this batch is August of 24. And so, because of what I'm doing with these, I think it'll last longer than that. But the reason I'm doing this, even though I'm keeping this at home, and I'm going to show you the tub that it's went into, is this isn't going to my bug out location. This is going to be right here at the house. And what if, heaven forbid, a storm or a tree falls and I lose part of my roof, and then I have my foodstuffs getting wet. You know, I got water coming into my kitchen. Well, if I protect it like this, then I don't have anything to worry about, or less to worry about. Or I may only lose a little bit of it instead of all of it. And that is my ultimate goal. So another benefit of having these smaller packages sealed up is I'll be able to barter or give somebody something without letting them know I've got a 5-gallon bucket of whatever, because I have some smaller sizes available. Now the sugar I'm doing in 4-pound, in the 4-pound block, just like it is. Some people say not to store it or not to vacuum seal it because it'll be a hard rock, and I'm certainly not going to argue that it won't be, because it is. But what I'm going to argue is that I can break it up, but I can't get it, on wet or without bugs. So I'll be back. I am taking bags of sugar and vacuum sealing them along with some other baking goods and making a baking box. It's a beautiful day to vacuum seal. So yes, I'm doing some vacuum sealing of a baking box or a trading box or for rainy day, trying to keep everything dry. So let me show you what I've done. So I started with sugar, self-rising flour, all-purpose flour. I bought a thing of yeast, some baking soda, and some baking powder. And I don't know how you guys want to look at it, but there it is, all in one tub. So there is 4 all-purpose flours, 2 self-rising flours, 4 pounds of sugar, 1 thing of yeast, a pound of yeast, and then 2 containers of baking soda and 2 containers of baking powder. Now in that, I am also going to add a roll of cling wrap, or plastic wrap, a roll of parchment paper or wax paper, and a roll of aluminum foil, in addition to possibly some vanilla and some other general baking goods. But today I was able to do 2 of these tubs. So what I showed you in that tub, I have twice that amount. So I'm pretty excited. And as always, let's get ready.